Back in 1963, Enzo Ferrari did something incredible. He didn't just turn down a multi-million-dollar buyout offer, he personally insulted Henry Ford II and his entire family legacy. So this wasn't just some business deal gone wrong. Oh no. This was a full-on declaration of war. What came next was one of the greatest rivalries in motorsport history, a clash of egos fueled by pure spite that would give birth to an absolute legend, the Ford GT40.
And yeah, with that one simple command, Henry Ford II, or the Deuce as they called him, launched the most expensive, most ambitious, and maybe the most personal racing program in history. See, after getting absolutely humiliated by Enzo Ferrari, Ford was ready to spend literally any amount of money. And this wasn't just about winning a race, it was about crushing his rival on the world's biggest stage.
So how did we get here? How in the world does a multi-million-dollar business deal in Italy just explode into this all-out corporate war? Well, it all started with what was supposed to be a handshake to unite two automotive giants.
And this, right here, this really gets to the heart of it. You're looking at the two men at the center of this war, and they could not have been more different. On one side, you've got Enzo Ferrari, Il Commendatore, a racing purist who, let's be honest, only sold road cars to fund his true passion. And then, on the other side, you've got Henry Ford II, this industrial emperor who saw racing as basically the ultimate marketing tool. One guy was building art, the other was weaponizing an assembly line. It's just a complete clash of worlds.
So get this, Ford's team spends 22 days and millions of dollars auditing every single nut and bolt of Ferrari's operation.
I mean, the deal was this close to being signed. But then, Enzo spots it, a clause. A tiny little clause that says Ford would control the racing team's budget. To Enzo, his racing team was everything. It was his soul. So this wasn't just business, it was a deep personal insult. He walks out, and as he leaves, he basically tells Ford's guys that Henry II wasn't half the man his grandfather was, and that he built ugly cars in an ugly factory. And just like that, the war was on.
Okay, so the deal is dead, and Ford's mission is now crystal clear. If he can't buy Ferrari, he's gonna bury him. He gives the green light to a program to build a Ferrari killer from scratch. But as it turns out, building a race car that can actually beat the best in the world, yeah, that's a whole lot harder and way more dangerous than this industrial giant ever imagined.
And this was the weapon they came up with, the Ford GT40. It was just a stunning machine, right? So low, so aggressive. And its name, GT40, actually comes from its most obvious feature. It stood just 40 inches tall. A name that was literally a measurement, a symbol of its sleek design, built for one thing and one thing only, slicing through the air like a bullet. But here's the thing. In 64 and 65, the whole program was, well, it was a glorious failure. The GT40 was insanely fast, for sure, but it was also spectacularly unreliable. Turns out, Detroit's mass production way of thinking just didn't work in the world of endurance racing. Gearboxes would just shatter, engines would blow, and the brakes? Oh, the brakes would literally melt. We're talking about trying to slow a car from over 200 miles an hour, and the brakes would hit 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. Just gone. And if that wasn't bad enough, the car had a truly terrifying secret. At speeds over 170 miles an hour, it didn't just want to drive. It wanted to fly. The body was generating so much aerodynamic lift that the front wheels would literally start to lose contact with the road. The drivers weren't just driving a car, they were basically piloting a 200-mile-per-hour airplane that was trying to take off. I mean, this wasn't some minor technical glitch. This was deadly. It got so bad that after a horrifying crash during testing, Ford's own test driver, a guy named Roy Salvadori, he just quit on the spot. And his reason was simple and pretty chilling. He was leaving the program to save his own life. That's how dangerous this car was. So after 2 straight years of just humiliating failures, Ford finally did what it probably should have done from the very beginning. They handed the entire program over to this maverick Texan, a former chicken farmer who became a Le Mans champion, a guy named Carroll Shelby. And he was the one who would finally tame this beast. See, Shelby got it. He knew Le Mans wasn't just about who was fastest for one lap. It was about who could survive for 24 hours. He brought in his brilliant, no-nonsense test driver, Ken Miles. And together, these two were the ones who finally transformed the GT40 from this fragile, dangerous death trap into a reliable, long-distance weapon. And this right here is a perfect example of their genius.
Instead of trying to invent some kind of indestructible brakes, which was basically impossible, Shelby's team thought like mechanics, not just engineers. They designed a system where the crew could swap out the entire brake assembly, rotors, pads, the whole thing, in just a few minutes during a pit stop. No one else was doing this. It was an absolute game changer. All right, so the car is finally sorted out. Ford returns to Le Mans in 1966. But this time, they're not just there to compete. Oh no. They showed up with an army. Their goal was total, crushing, absolute domination. I mean, just look at the numbers here. It's wild. Ford rolls in with a fleet of 8 factory-backed GT40s. Ferrari, the reigning champ, they could only bring 3. Ford wasn't just trying to outrace Ferrari, they were planning to just overwhelm them with sheer industrial power. And this is really where Ford weaponized its biggest advantage, its massive scale. They flew in 20 tons of spare parts and equipment. They had hundreds of people on the ground. It felt less like a racing team and more like a military invasion, all designed to just completely suffocate the smaller, more artistic Italian team. And you know what? The strategy worked perfectly. Ford's relentless pace just broke Ferrari's more delicate machines. One by one, they started failing. By the time the sun came up, the track belonged to Ford. They were running first, second, and third. Ferrari was completely and utterly beaten. So, victory is in the bag. And this is where Ford's PR team sees a chance for the ultimate marketing shot. They actually ordered the 3 leading Fords to slow down and cross the finish line all at once, a perfect symbol of Ford's total dominance. It was meant to be the final, carefully choreographed insult aimed directly at Enzo Ferrari. But there was a bitter, ironic twist to the whole thing. Ken Miles, the driver who had poured his heart and soul into developing this car, the man who was leading the race, he slowed down, just like he was told. But because his teammate, Bruce McLaren, had technically started the race from a little further back, the Le Mans rules said that McLaren had traveled a greater distance in the same 24 hours. So that photo finish, the thing that was supposed to be a symbol of team victory, actually ended up costing Ken Miles his historic win. It's just heartbreaking. So, in the end, Ford got its victory, and Henry II got his revenge. But what was the real, lasting impact of this unbelievably expensive and deeply personal feud? Well, the fallout was huge. Ford didn't just win in '66, they came back and won for the next 3 years straight. And Ferrari? To this day, they have never won the overall title at Le Mans again. The GT40 became this incredible icon of American defiance. And the whole rivalry basically created the modern playbook for huge, corporate-backed racing teams. It changed the sport forever. And all of this leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. You think about it. This entire saga, all the money, the innovation, the risk, the legend, it wasn't born from some smart business plan on a whiteboard. It was born from one man's bruised ego and his all-consuming desire for revenge.